This video is going to be slightly longer because I want to show you some super useful keyboard shortcuts that I use all the time, even outside of Microsoft Word and Google or in other programs like Microsoft Teams. These really do translate across almost all of the different programs. The only programs that tend to have a few different keyboard shortcuts are Adobe products like Photoshop and Illustrator, but most of these are pretty universal across your computer. If you are using a Mac though, these are going to be slightly different. So like the Alt key is called Option on your computer and the Control key is called Command. So just some things that are slightly different, and some of these may not apply, but on a PC, these are probably some of the most useful keyboard shortcuts I use. So first thing is for selecting content. So before we get started, if you could find and use the useful keyboard shortcuts document, if you don't, you can just kind of recreate it if you need to, but I'm just going to go through and really apply things and show you things within this document. So underneath selecting contents, there should be a blank paragraph right there that you can click in. And we're going to use a little code inside Word. Now, when you're in the full version of Word, you are able to use a code to generate dummy text. And there's two codes that can be used, but you always begin with an equal sign and then type LOREM if you want gibberish text or Latin text. And then if you want English, you actually can put the word RAND instead, and that will create English text. But I'm going to go ahead and put LOREM, and then you're going to go ahead and open your parentheses. And inside the parentheses, you first state how many paragraphs you want. So let's say I want 3 paragraphs, and then you put a comma and how many sentences or lines you want it to be. And I can say like 12 lines each, and then you close your parentheses. There's no spaces in this, it's all lowercase, but this is a great way for you to be able to really create some quick contents, because once you've typed this exactly the way that it is, equal sign LOREM, open parenthesis, 3 comma 12 close parenthesis, and hit enter after the text, you're going to find that it creates 3 paragraphs with 12 sentences each. So the reason I want to do this is because there's some quick ways to select some contents. These are each a paragraph. There's an enter key hit at the end of this to create a paragraph, and Word actually keeps track of when you do paragraphs, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the future. But when you want to select stuff, most people click and drag across it to select it. And sometimes you get things that you don't want, like spaces or punctuation or other words. So if you ever just want to select just one word, you can always go to that word and just double click it. And when you double click a word, it's going to select it. Now, when you click on something, it'll put your cursor there, but if you triple click, you're going to find that it will actually select the entire paragraph, including the paragraph marker at the end, which we can't see, and that selected the whole thing. So you can quickly do this. Now, when things are selected, whether they're words, paragraphs, whatever you want them to be, once you've selected them, you can actually physically click on them when they're selected in gray, and you can drag and move them around the document. So I can see that I have a black line that's showing me where it's going to be inserted. So if I wanted to go move this paragraph down below the other two, I could click and drag and drop down below the other two, and it would move the whole paragraph for me really quickly. Instead of me having to copy it, delete it, and paste it, all those kinds of things, I can just click and drag. Another thing you can do when you're in a paragraph is you can use your arrow keys and Shift and Control. So if you hold the Control key down on the left side of your keyboard and then use the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can actually pop between words. So if you use the right arrow key, you can see I'm popping at the end of every word. If I hit the down arrow key, I'll pop by paragraph. Same thing with up and left. Instead of holding Control this time, let's hold Shift, and you'll see that if you use your arrow key, you can begin to select by character. Character includes spaces, punctuation, all those kinds of things. And if you hit the down arrow, you'll select by line. Now, this time, if you hold Control and Shift together and you press the down arrow, you'll select a full paragraph. And if you press it down again, you'll select the second paragraph. So you can select by paragraph. If you just hit the right or left arrow key, you'll select by word. So it's a really great way for you to quickly select some things and delete it or remove it or do whatever you want to do if you don't want to leave your keyboard. And leaving your keyboard actually wastes more time. So that's a quick way to go ahead and select things. If you want to get to the end of a line, you can use the end key on your keyboard, which is over on the right-hand side to the right of backspace. You have end, and you have home, which takes you to the left side of the line on your paragraph. All right, let's move on down to our clipboard. Your clipboard is a fascinating piece of software that's developed inside of your computer. Now, clipboards exist not just on your computer, but on your phones and all those kinds of things. It's essentially like, what are you copying? You can see on the Home tab that there is actually a clipboard group. And most of the time when you're on things and you press Control, it's asking you what you want to paste and copy and all those kinds of things. The clipboard's really fascinating because it'll keep track of all the things that you've copied. So if we double click the word copy and we want to copy it, you can go to your clipboard and you can press the copy key, you can right click and copy it, or you can hit Control C on your keyboard. So when you hit a keyboard shortcut, you just hold the Control key down. You don't have to try and time it so that they're at the same time. And you press the C key and that will put it in your clipboard. You know then that you can click after copy, click enter and paste it, which I could go up here to this and paste it with the paste button. I could right click paste it with all the different options, or I can hit Control V as in Victor on my keyboard and that will paste it. But what's also fascinating about this is that the word copy actually went into your clipboard when you copied it. So if you go and open up the dialog box right here for clipboard, you'll find that the word copy is actually sitting there. So if I take the word paste, for instance, select it and Control C to copy it, I see it now appearing in my clipboard. They will continue to collect items all the way up until 24 different items. So I could copy the word cut, I could copy the word bold, I could copy this whole paragraph up here, I could copy all these different things, and then with my clipboard open, I could go and paste the word bold, for instance, by coming over to my clipboard and clicking on it. The last keyboard shortcut is cut. Cut is Control X on your keyboard, kind of like some scissors. Most people think the cut option, when they right click and cut something, deletes it off of their document. That is not what it does. It does remove it off your document, but it does so much more. Because when you cut something using Control X, the right click cut, or the cut feature up in the ribbon, it actually not only removes it, but puts it in your clipboard. This is great because then you can go somewhere else and you can paste it. Cut does not remove things. Okay, next up is font settings. Let's say I want to bold this word really quickly. I'm going to select it by double clicking, and then you could go up here and you could click bold, or you could use the quick toolbar that pops up. Or you can double click it and hold Control on your keyboard and press B, and it will bold it. Double clicking underline would be Control U for underline, and double clicking italics, Control I will italicize. Now you may think, oh, that didn't really save me a lot of time, because when I double click something, this quick access bar pops up and I'm already double clicking it to select it. But let's say you're in the middle of a sentence, like for instance, this is an, and then without leaving your keyboard, still on my keyboard here, press the space bar and look up in my ribbon here as I do this. Right here where we have the B, I, and the U for font, I'm going to hold Control on my keyboard and press B-I-U. Whoops, not O. Whoops, wrong keyboard shortcut. B-I-U. And it will I select all three of them, and I can put the word awesome, and then I can deselect them, B-I-U. Oh, I keep hitting O. Sorry, B-I-U. And type the word sentence to finish it out. So it can be, this is an awesome sentence. So in the middle of a document, or in the middle of a sentence, I can turn these features on and quickly type something that I want to be able to make bold, italicize, or underline. And that's a quick way to be able to change everything. The next thing we have is removing contents for backspace or delete. I want you to click in the middle of the word backspace, between back and space. Backspace will remove things to the left of the cursor. So if I start clicking backspace, it will start removing letters to the left of it. Delete on your keyboard is to the right of backspace. It actually removes stuff to the right of your cursor. So if you're wanting to remove stuff that's in front of your cursor, you can do so with the delete key. The delete key and backspace are both great for actually removing contents from your document or anything else, instead of using cut. The last one that I get asked out about a lot is the insert key. The insert key is a very fascinating key because when you're typing anything, and then you're in the middle of it and you want to add something, if you hit the insert key, sometimes it'll start removing what's to the right of your cursor. Well, what's kind of cool is that Word and Google Chrome and all these different features have actually started to turn that feature off, even if you hit the insert key. But right now, if I go to Microsoft Teams, for instance, and I go ahead and start creating a new post somewhere, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull this up real quick. For Teams, if I start typing something like this is a sentence, and I went right here in front of the word sentence, and I press the insert key and start typing the word awesome, you're going to see that it starts highlighting the next letter and deleting it while I type. And that can become really annoying. Well, to turn that off, you just put the word insert, click the insert key again, and it will stop doing that. So if you've ever run into a situation where you have text that's removing while you type, it's probably because you accidentally hit the insert key. All right, next one, undo. So let's go ahead and bold, italicize, and underline this word real quick. All right, undo. To undo something, you can use your quick access toolbar here, but you can also just hit Control Z on your keyboard. And the reason it's the Z is because undo is one of the most popularly used keyboard shortcuts, and it's on the left side of your keyboard right next to Control. So you're going to hit Control Z. It will undo each step one by one. And if you want to redo them, you Control Y to redo them. So redo. Let's go take the word redo and let's go ahead and make it a different color. Let's go make it like orange, for instance. So I'm going to go pick an orange color. That's great, but in order to make the next thing orange, I would have to triple click it and go up here and click the arrow or the A again. Instead, what you can do is you can actually hit Control Y to redo what you just did. So I can hit Control Y here, triple click, hit Control Y here, and do it over and over and over again as I hit Control Y. So redo doesn't just redo what you undid, it actually redoes the last command you applied. The last keyboard shortcut that's really great is Control F. Control F helps you quickly search for things. So if I want to search for like the word redo, I can hit Control F and start typing. This is really great for when you go to like a Wikipedia page and you're searching for a specific word, or you're on a website and you're searching for a specific word that you are looking for. So for instance, if I'm on the Microsoft Wikipedia page and I want to find the word Bill for Bill Gates, I can hit Control F and start typing Bill, and that will open up a find window in Google Chrome, and it will highlight every Bill inside of here. If I want to find Bill Gates, I can type Bill Gates, and it will find 16 options for Bill Gates, and I can quickly shuffle through them by hitting the next arrow key, and it will highlight each one of them as I move through the page. Great feature available in lots of different programs. So at this point, you've learned tons of different keyboard shortcuts, and hopefully you learned something new to save you time and energy.